One of the things I've come to realize about atheists is that atheists, in a way, are mentally handicapped.
Go on.
Now, you might think that's a really bizarre thing to say.
You think? I believe I remember quite a few Christians being pissed off when people started making claims and using science to show that Christians were showing signs of hallucinations and all that kind of different good stuff. So, yeah, I'd say it's a little out there. Now, personally, I don't agree that Christians have a mental defect or anything like that. Not at all.
But think about it for a second. One of the things that defines the human race is that there's a spiritual aspect to our existence.
Actually, the things that define humans, or the family Hominidae, are articulate speech, superior intellect, and an erect carriage or standing upright. There is nothing about this spiritual realm that we label as something that's a human characteristic.
Now, the problem with atheists is that they did not develop the spiritual sense that people of a religious background naturally have.
What? What does that mean? How did I not develop that? How do you not develop that the ability to understand the spiritual realm? I thought God was supposed to be in charge of that. I mean, God. It says that God knew us from the womb. Did He decide? You know what? No, fuck that guy in particular. That guy is going to be an atheist. I don't feel like giving him the ability to understand the spirit. How can you claim that? How can you possibly say that?
And you can see this when atheists always argue that, well, the only way to know things is through science, is through your senses. Well, that's a very animalistic thing to say because animals experience the world through their senses. But
Christian, come here. Sidebar. Sidebar. Come on. Come on. All right. So, you ever heard of Carl Linnaeus? Probably one of the most recognizable names, particularly in science and taxonomy in particular. Yeah, that's the guy that said, hey, yeah, by the way, humans, that's the thing we're going to call ourselves now, but we derived from apes or an ape-like ancestor. Yeah. Yeah, he was a Christian and he was a creationist. He believed that God divinely created everything. Not quite like today's creationist, but he definitely was a Christian. However, he also understood how science works and how fossils and rating things and how animals had relations with one of each other. Not like sex relations, but how they were related. Let me put it that way. Yeah. So we're classified as humans because of him, but the guy that classified us as humans recognized that we come from an ape-like ancestor. So we are animals.
humans have this different dimension where they can feel things spiritually. And so it's very much explaining a spiritual relationship or a belief in God to an atheist is very much like talking to a toddler about, complex calculus.
I'm 28 years old, and if you try to explain calculus to me, well, you're going to get the same result as you do with a toddler. You didn't have to go back to the toddler route, but let's go on.
I mean, you can talk all day long to the toddler about complex calculus, but there's absolutely no way that the kid's going to understand what you're talking about. And the reason isn't because the kid's dumb. It's not because the kid is, simply just doesn't want to believe it, but it's the kid is incapable of understanding what you're talking about. Just developmentally, they have not reached the capacity to grasp the concepts that you're talking about. And atheism is exactly the same way. They think if you can't touch something, if you can't hear something, then you can't know something. And that's a developmental problem.
That's a straw man there, good buddy. Just because something is not empirical doesn't mean that we, think it's absolutely false or that we can't know it. We are very well aware that there are certain things that we can't sense properly, and that, for example, we can't use all of our senses don't recognize all the colors. We understand that our senses can be deceiving us. We also use reason and logic to verify things. But it's not just knowing things. Again, that's another straw man. This is to be justified in our beliefs. The things that we believe in generally have predictive capabilities and are reasonable and logical and have empirical evidence that support them. It's not just one thing, it's about 5 others.
I was listening to a debate between Blair Scott and Kyle Butt. And Blair Scott's a pretty prominent atheist, but he admitted that atheism is more common amongst people that have a certain defect in the brain. They had actually confirmed this with study.
You know, I'm not sure if Christian here is being disingenuous or just ignorant of what was actually said, or maybe he forgot it and he's just drawing conclusions based off that misrepresentation of what he thought he heard, a while back. So I went out and found the video, and here is what he actually said.
The percentage of people with Asperger's within the general population is around 4%. Within the atheist community, the percentage of people with Asperger's is in the double digits. Individuals who have Asperger's are less likely to believe in a God because the part of the brain that is used to have religious thought, to think teleologically, and connect with the hidden agent does not properly work.
I want you to remember what he just said, and remember this is talking just about people with Asperger's. But Christian here runs with it.
And so, a lot of times I argue with atheists. I think these people are just, sort of, stubborn, or they just don't. But I think there's a deeper issue, which I think a lot of them might be mentally handicapped. They might not understand or not be able to grasp or feel what normal religious human beings can feel. And in that way, we should really, have a lot of mercy on them, a lot of sympathy, because if it is in fact a developmental problem, then it's a shame that they can't experience what the rest of humanity can experience.
Did you hear what he just said? Because we're not Christians and we're not experiencing the spiritual realm that we're asking for the proof for, we're fucking mentally handicapped, and that they should have mercy on us. Fuck you! Now, it's only worse, and the only reason I sound so, whatever, is because he's not trolling. He's not, trying to be a smartass. He truly thinks that we're broken. Oh my God. Or your God, whatever. Seriously though, part of his deal is he wants to try and connect people with autism or Asperger's with atheists. And basically saying that, maybe all atheists or most atheists have some sort of defect. Well, they've already gone a route similar to that, and they've basically gathered a lot of atheists and people with Asperger's, and they described a situation and said, hey, look, this such and such happened, why do you think this happened? Now, atheists, of course, did not have a teleological response, of course, God did this or there was a plan for it. And they, in fact, actually had anti-teleological responses. There is no plan. There is no purpose. Things just happen. That was atheists. Now, when they asked people with Asperger's, they didn't really have any sort of teleological response or anti-teleological response. They just kind of had a response. They were not able to think teleologically as what's-his-face said, Scott Blair. This is just according to what studies show. Atheists were able to, according to the study, show that they were able to think teleologically and then said, no, that doesn't make sense. So they rejected that teleological and made an anti-teleological response. So there is a difference. And again, seriously? You really thought we were all broken? God damn, dude. He also seems to forget about the idea that there are Christians that have Asperger's as well, or any other high-functioning autism. But seriously though, Christian, just because you're in Illinois doesn't mean that you're in Chicago. So that's it for the first part. This is a reply to his atheists are like Toddlers, which I'm going to post all of the credible links below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Probably in the next day or two, I'll be releasing the next part, talking about what about atheists that were former believers, such as myself. This is the Atheist Chef. I got my name wrong. That's awesome. This is the Atheist Chef, signing off. Peace.